I feel like I spend like an unhealthy amount of time during the day trying to not be an asshole. Like, listen, hear me out here. Okay,
Yo, I feel
there
that.
was a comment that someone commented on like one of the shorts, and there was just like bashing anime, just like, oh, anime straight up so and so. I'm like, I don't even know what this word is. I'm not going to say it because it could get canceled. I have no idea, or it could be made up. I like to do that, just make up words. But then, how do you like fight against that? And like my first response, or I like thought was, I want to ask them about their mom. You know what I mean? Like okay, like anime is whatever, sure, but like, is your mom single? And then I went and I thought about like, you should make it like a D's nuts joke, right? But then you don't want to like start anything. And then I started thinking about the mom again. I'm like, damn, I really have two brain cells. One of them is D's nuts jokes, and the other one's about hot moms. Like, it's unbelievable. Um, but yeah, so I had a big self discovery day today, and that's just stuff I realized.
Dude, I feel like we all spend, maybe not everybody, but we all like spend a decent amount of energy to go out of our way to be like good people or not be like, yo, you're fucking insane, like to the person
Yeah,
at work or whatever.
like maybe
You know
you,
what I mean? Like,
yeah, like maybe you shouldn't start that fight. Just spread positivity, not hate. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
always
don't.
like, yeah, pick my battles. There'll be something worth arguing about at the end of the week for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I got to save this energy in these comebacks.
Make sure it's pent up for Thursday. That's
Anyways, guys,
terrible.
welcome back to episode 12 of the Casual Weebs podcast. Dude, welcome the new people because there's new people and we love you. And honestly, this week has been awesome for anime. It always is. I feel like we say the same things over and over and over again. That we're spoiled, that this week was amazing. And honestly, it just like, we are. We're spoiled, and every week's amazing, and it's great. So, I mean, I was super stoked. This week was actually like really cool because a lot of the animes actually shared like the same type of like episode. And I know this is like a real common, but like with Demon Slayer, with My Hero Academia, and even Windbreaker, we saw episodes where it was a little bit of action, a little taste, and like holy crap, but like it was a lore bomb with one character that's not the main character. And I thought that was sick. For My Hero Academia, it was Yuga finding out he's the spy, kind of learning about that backstory and the confrontation between him and Deku. With Windbreaker, we learned Togami's backstory, which really kind of showed us a lot into Choji. We saw the beginning of that fight, the part one, which was just, oh my god. You know what I mean? And then Demon Slayer, we had like Giyu's backstory and kind of what happened with that, and just some funny interactions. So I thought that this week was so incredible because of that, because it was like just those episodes that just like really helps develop the characters and the stories. And it was just like, maybe not like a ton of action, but like damn good episodes. And then of course Kaiju. That's where we had all the action. Kaiju number 8 this week was absolutely insane. But anyways, I'm just so stoked. The New Gate. I really like this a week's episode as well. It got a little dark. I'm all for it. Showed a little like what could this be? So I mean, dude, anime like it was just I was drooling. I was like, thank you. Thank you, anime gods. Don't know why we have such a blessed anime season this season, but we're gonna enjoy it, and then we're gonna cry next season when we only have like three god tier animes. You know what I mean? Like only. But let's get right into it. What do you want to talk about?
That's up to you, man. There was a lot of good stuff. You made a good point though, like just the affinity of the season. Everything like feels really locked in, and even though stuff's at different points, like everything's just rolling really well.
Yeah, for real. I think like going based off of that, we got to talk about Windbreaker. I mean, because that was so
Yeah.
cool. I mean, not only was it like that big lore bomb and kind of like figuring out a lot of things, but like, dude, that fight between Sakura and Togame, which is, by the way, part one. I mean, we're gonna finish that next episode, I think. But dude, that was insane. That was incredible.
It was really like balanced too. It wasn't too one-sided either way because like we had kind of talked about the last 2 weeks. Maybe Sakura would lose or like something would happen and somebody would interfere and like maybe the fight wouldn't happen. So it was cool to see them like land some punches and kind of saw Sakura take an ass kicking at first, but he obviously showed his resilience and his toughness, and I like his fighting style too. It's kind of the first time we got to see him really do his thing, like very like kick centric and like athletic, very acrobatic, like unorthodox. Um, I feel like they've done a good job through these first 4 fights of like giving you different styles of like martial arts, even though they're like young high school, they're like freshmen in high school. These guys are all
Well,
like,
some of them are older.
yeah, that's true, that's true. They're all like very proficient, which is really sick.
Yeah,
But Togame's like I don't even know what you would call it, like that wrestling grappling style,
I
like
loved
judo
that.
throws and stuff.
Yeah.
Super, super cool.
Yeah, I thought that this week was so awesome because like Togami, I never would have expected him to be like more the wrestler type of fighting style. I thought that was very, very cool and awesome to see. And then yeah, Sakura's fighting style is like very, very interesting because like you said, it's more based off of his like flexibility. The way where he gets in these tight situations and he's just able to use his legs and kicking to either block a hit, restrict some motion, or to land a blow, which is just awesome. I thought it was very cool. I thought it was amazing because it also showed just how tough he is. I mean, taking some of those hits, they're not giving up. I mean, you can tell it's just that fire in his heart that is just keeping him going and keeping him in these fights, and it's just so awesome to watch. And I thought that the fight between them is so far amazing because it's like real balanced. He's landing hits against Togami, and Togami's not some pushover. Like I still think Togami could sort of win. I think that this fight might end in some sort of, I don't know, because Sakura's trying to prove a point, trying to take this guy on and kind of show, here's who I am, here's the level of fighting experience that I have, and how good of a fighter I am. While Togame seems that he's trying to, send a message to Choji, because we learned a lot about that backstory, and dude, holy crap, that backstory. Is Togame a good guy? Is he? Like,
is,
I don't know
dude.
anymore.
I think he really puts on that like persona. You know what I mean? He's like icy and like, I mean, he is obviously very tough, but like you could be a tough guy and still be like sensitive and emotional, and
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
think he's just kind of repressing that because Choji's obviously the leader. He's who everybody looks up to, so he doesn't want to challenge that. And I think he really like cherishes the friendship that they had, but it kind of changed when it was like all about strength, and we kind of got a glimpse of that in that scene with the rain where he
Choji
kind of,
snapping.
yeah, he snaps on that guy who kind of already got jumped. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I did not expect that. I guess out of their dynamic, I thought, Togami would just be all on board, maybe a little bit weaker or newer or whatever. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see him be like more attached to people. And even though he's not like that now, that's not really how he feels. And at the end of the episode, like he takes that shot to the ribs and he's kind of like unsure of like his values. You know what I mean? He looks over to Choji and he's like, "What am I doing?"
Well, yeah, Basakura said, he's like, hey, man, why weren't you trying to land that punch? Basakura dodged the punch pretty easy and then landed that shot. And he's like, why aren't you blocking that shot? Like, why do you want to get hit? He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah, like, what am I doing? And it's like real crazy because I even think that Choji's not even necessarily the bad guy, which is the crazy part. Like, I know he snapped and we kind of seeing a little part of it. We're seeing his, like, quote unquote dark side. But at the end of the day, what Choji experienced was that the journey's way better than the end result. He always thought that, like, something's like holding him back. Something's like really upsetting him, and he just wants to be free. You know what I mean? He keeps saying that he wants his freedom, and the strongest guy gets the freedom. Ready? Right? He's like the strongest is the freest, which is a really interesting kind of like I don't know saying. But then he gets there and he becomes the strongest, and he's like, I still don't feel free. And that's where he changes from this like really bright person who's like just really happy and has that smile and just energizes everyone around to being this like psychotic dude who just snaps and is just all about strength and beating the crap out of the people that he goes against. And you can even tell, like, he went to the guy who's the head of Fury and was like, I want what you have. You seem so happy. I want to be happy. He wants to be back to the way he was. So I think that, like, finding out more about, like, why he snapped and why he wants to be so free, I think is going to really kind of be like, oh, Choji's not that bad. But, like, it's really cool adding a lot of depth to some of these like new fighters coming in from Shistoran, because we got the backstory of Togame, a little bit of Choji, that kid from last episode, the episode before. So I mean, it's kind of cool to see that there's more depth to some of these characters than just like, oh, we only care about power. So I think that was really cool. I think that was nice, and I can't wait to go more into that. And it just kind of shows and kind of brings up the fight between the top of Furin and also Choji. That's gonna be insane.
Yeah, I think this whole like first season has really gotten me more excited for that fight with Hajime and Choji than anything else. And even though I'm like, I don't know. I always love the main character. You know what I mean? I'm all about Sakura. I want to see him win, but really excited for that second fight, but it adds a lot more weight. And like you said, you're getting, not like a ton of information, but like you're getting a little bit of backstory on everybody. And like for the pace of season one, it's moving quick. The fights are pretty fast. Like you're still getting enough
Story.
like development, yeah, enough story, enough depth where you can like actually latch onto these characters, and it's not just about like strong MC versus villain. And I thought that line with Choji was super cool because it's the same thing Luffy says in the beginning, like when he sets out to go on sail, like the strongest guy's the freest guy on the sea. So when he
Oh,
said that, I'm like, that's sick. I don't even know if that's like a if it's a nod to One Piece or whatever, but
it
I'm
definitely
gonna
is
say it
because
is.
we saw that with solo leveling in Goku.
Yeah, that was super cool
Yeah,
too.
to see.
I love shit like that.
Yeah, dude, it's the best. I mean, I freaked out when I watched Jujutsu Kaisen and they brought up, like Naruto references and like all this stuff. I'm like, oh, like that's so cool. It's so cool seeing that like anime can kind of appreciate and be inspired by other animes. You know what I mean? Like they're all kind of fans, which is cool to see. But yeah, I'm really excited for a lot of that. So like, here's the thing. I feel like Choji's definitely gonna lose. You know what I mean? I feel
I
like
do
that
too.
fight,
Yeah,
yeah, but is Sakura gonna lose? What's this fight gonna look like?
I think it'll be like a war of attrition because like they both. I mean, they both have some serious damage, right? They both took a couple really good blows, but I don't think I don't think either of them are getting knocked out. I think if I had to guess, I'm gonna say like Choji and will be like, that's enough. Like it's our turn. Like we'll finish it. But
You
they'll
think
both get
so?
pretty banged up. I think.
Here's the thing, I don't think Togami is fully fighting yet. Because in the beginning, he talked about how he's going to slow down to kind of enjoy, the meal per se. You know what I mean? To
Yeah,
enjoy playing with him. And I don't think he's really stepped up that speed yet to kind of really show like what he can fully do. Because again, at the end of that episode, he's not trying to land a hit. He's taking hits and he's like, well, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, what am I doing? I think he's lost right now in this fight. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I feel like we're gonna have that spot where he just clicks back and that he can really kind of go full force, and then that's really gonna be insane. That's really gonna be a tough thing for Sokka to deal with. But it's just like I don't know. I can see it going either way, and I just kind of think there's gonna be some weird third ending, like you said, where it's just like it's just gonna come to an end. They're both gonna get knocked out, something like that. You know what I mean? I can definitely see. Misakura always has that last ditch, kick that he always kind of does. You know what I mean? So I can see like he kind of comes in to hit Sakura, and as Sakura's going down, he just throws a kick and hits Sugami in the head, and then they're both down. Everyone's just like, "What?" You know what I mean?
definitely. I could definitely see that. It's been good like writing though. You know what I mean? I feel like it's been fair all the way around. Like Sakura's not just like it's not just struggling, but like yeah, like you said, I don't think it'll be easy for him either way.
And honestly, I little guess, little prediction. I think that after this, we're going to see them go against Zinc because that was brought up multiple times.
Yeah, they did drop that on us. You know what I mean? That's like the another school or gang like local to them, close to Shistoran. So like they'll definitely come and play. Maybe at the end of the season or after this like little mini arc, whatever you want to call it. I
Yeah.
agree.
Like I feel like that like I understand it was like for the backstory. It's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about our kind of rivalry with this school. But I feel like using the name and kind of keep bringing up the name is not for no reason. And they said that, oh, some guys are calling themselves Zinc again because they took them out the first time. So I feel like Zinc is gonna be like this gang that's like low key hiding underground, and then they're gonna emerge right after this kind of like battle, between Furin and Shistorian. And I feel like that's going to be very cool. And maybe we'll see some team ups because I don't think that necessarily Furin is against Shistorin. Like, I feel like there's that beef, and that's why, like, I don't know that they kind of go against each other, but I feel like that beef is kind of getting squashed right now. The guy from
Yeah,
Furin and the one of the four kings, and then the guy he went against, they had like personal, vendettas against each other. Well, the kid from Shistoran did, but they kind of like settled that a little bit. He kind of like now understood why he went and he followed the top guy at Furin. You know what I mean? And then Togami is learning a lot from Sakura. I think he's kind of gaining a lot of respect for him because he's kind of being tested. He's actually bleeding. You know what I mean? So I feel like that this might end up and kind of resolve into them sort of being friends, and maybe we see a little bit of a team up against Zinc. Maybe we start to see some bigger gangs and some bigger arcs.
I definitely think you're right on the money with that. Like, um, I think he said it twice. Hajime has said like a fight is a conversation. Then when Sakura's going up, he's like, remember, it's a
Oh,
conversation. So like, you're right. They're a little more mature. Furin is than Shistoran. So like, not that they're like lecturing them, even though that's exactly what Suo did. Like, yeah, like get to our level, get a little bit better, and then yeah, they'll team up. And even if they're not friends, they're like allies. I think they'll take on Zinc and like hopefully make people like Togame and Choji like better people or care more about the others around them.
yeah, because honestly, we know too much about these characters just to be the end. You know what I mean? The fact that we're
Yeah,
gonna have a couple episodes of fighting, and then we're just gonna not talk about just story anymore. They're not gonna be involved. Like, no, we're getting way too much into some of these top, fighters of Shistoran, so I feel like they're going to stay around and stick around, and it's going to be really cool. But also, what he actually said to Sakura was, "Go have a long conversation." That is sick.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
awesome. And that's when Sakura remembered that. He's like, "Oh, a fight's like a conversation." He's like, gotcha. You know what I mean? So I think that was, I don't know. I think that this little arc has been phenomenal. It's going to be sad. It's going to be coming to a close soon, but I cannot wait to see what else comes from Windbreaker. And I mean, dude, the best is yet to come. So I'm stoked. But speaking of some insane fighting, Kaiju number 8. What about, dude, such like not just action, but like a lore bomb as well. Just, we learned so much from this episode.
Yeah, it was really good. I feel like they really gassed up like the main cast here and like kind of gave some props. Um, got a little more backstory, and I was definitely super excited at the end of the episode, but also a little worried for my boy Ishikawa. I don't care about the other guy, but definitely care about Ishikawa.
You think he's not
Running
going
into
to
that,
have trouble? You think he's going to have trouble?
I hope not, but yeah, a little nervous
I
because
mean,
like
that,
he would know. I don't know the character, but like Kaiju number 9 would know who Ishikawa is from the cleanup team because he said, or somebody in the unit said that Kafka and Ishikawa had made the defense force, so they were trying out for it when he was there. So I don't know if he'll recognize Ishikawa, but that's a little scary for my boy there.
I mean, us talk about Ichikawa for a second. Let's give him his flowers per se. I mean,
Yes,
so
hell
many
yeah.
sick things about him. I love first of all how he's really pushing himself because everyone's pushing themselves to get stronger. That's what I love about this group is that they are really hungry to get stronger and to get better, and they have that perfect mentality for rivalry where they're like, I want to be better than them, but they're not like toxic where they're stepping over people to try to achieve that power. There's still, camaraderie and teamwork and that kind of stuff. So I love that Ichikawa though is like selfless about it because everyone is just like, oh, I want to be stronger and be better, but he's like, I need to be better so Kafka doesn't have to transform. I thought that was fucking wholesome. Okay,
True homie moment. Loved it.
exactly. But then also we got that little the quote here, but the voice captain saying that the only person so far that shows potential to like be at the level of a captain is Shinomiya. He was like, but the other person who has a chance so far, is showing a little bit of like I don't know positivity towards that is Ichikawa. So Ichikawa is like number 2 in the class right now behind the prodigy. You know what I mean? So it's insane of what he might become, and he's soloing these kaijus. Like he's doing insane. Dude, he's so sick.
It was really sick to see him kind of get some love. And like that guy
Mm-hmm.
he's with, I can't think of his name, the pink haired or red haired dude. He was like, "Oh, I've spent 5 years in training, and I still can't keep up with this guy." So I really liked his like intensity that he was pushing. It made Ishikawa seem like, I don't know, really badass, and like he can kind of carry his own. He's not just like the buddy. He's not. I mean, he is the homie, but like he's also there and like he's capable. He like fits into the story and the defense force. So that was super cool to like see him kicking butt. But you're definitely right. There was a lot of like healthy competition and like everybody wants to one up each other, but for the right reasons. They're not trying to tear each other down.
Yeah, that's so sick. And I mean, what was really cool, like really funny, was when Shinomiya's going off, and I was like, oh my god, that's what she's capable of. And Kafka's like, awesome job, like great job, and she like gets
Nice.
flustered, and her suit's like, your heart rate is like 150, and she's like, shut up,
So good, dude.
don't
Love it.
call
She got
me
a crush
out.
on our boy. Kafka's the man, dude. He's just like in a pile of trash. He's like, great job.
And she's just all flustered and stuff, dude. I thought that scene was great, but like, what's really cool too is that like, I guess like right now they're kind of showing Kafka's intelligence, right? Because we're not seeing him like really impress, combat wise, which is kind of unfortunate. Like you want to see that, you want to see the action, especially because everyone else is popping off. You know what I mean? It kind of sucks to be like, oh, like knowing he's so strong but not seeing it. But I guess they're really trying to highlight just how smart he is because, dude, he came in clutch this episode. I mean, he pulled up and he did a great job.
Yeah, that's the second time he's kind of shown like his adaptability and his ability to like help serve the team outside of combat situations, like give intelligence or support. Which exactly like you said, kind of shows how smart Kafka is, and he's good on his feet. And even if he, is only using 1% of his suit, he's still like a really good asset. And I think the vice captain Hoshino, I think his name is, he's like a little bit how do I want to put it? I think he finds Kafka annoying in a way because he's like, you seriously are the guy that thinks he's gonna like take my spot as vice captain. And he kind of says that like this is the strength of the person you're trying to stand next to. Super sick scene though.
Oh, with him with the swords as well. Like, dude, that
Yeah,
was
like
just kind of unsheathes him a little bit, and then that thing just disintegrates. I was like,
classic.
yo, this guy's a badass.
And like I knew he would be sick because he's like
Hmm.
super smart. Obviously, he's the vice captain. Like I've been excited to see his abilities, so that was super cool. Him and Mina definitely popped
Dude,
off.
Mina like showed her how big her balls are this episode. Like, oh my god.
He's like racking up the rounds. It was just like,
And they're like,
yes.
Captain, it's dead. One more round. It's just like, okay. Like, just firing off nukes and just keeps, like, that's what's insane is that, like, everyone just wants to, like, prove themselves to Kafka for some reason. And it's just the best. You know what I mean? Because they're going out of their way to kind of show him, here's our strength. Like, the vice captain did not have to do that. You know what I mean? He did not have to go out and just kind of,
Absolutely.
like, show him up, like, hey, like, that's what Mina can do. And here's what I can do. You know, so it's so sick. And the fact that like he went in, like, information wins wars. Like that info is so important in intelligence. So the fact that he's able to just sit there and dissect it and be like, okay, here's how to take it out. Here's how our strong people can take it out and our weaker, kind of soldiers can operate. It's just absolutely insane. You can tell that again. Kafka's going to be the key ingredient, the key piece to beating Kaiju number 9 because Kaiju number 9 is creating these kaiju and like biologically engineering them to have certain traits. So the fact that Kafka can get in there, dissect, and give them the information to the front lines when needed is huge, especially when, later in the season, he starts using his kaiju abilities, and then not only is he intelligent, but he's super strong. So, I mean, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head, but like, I just
Oh,
all the
sorry.
hype and like all the excitement for Kaiju's been totally justified. I literally cannot wait every week to watch it. But I'm really excited to see like what happens with Kafka because you're right. Everybody like they have an affinity for him. Like they want to go out of their way to like teach him or impress him or show him up one way or another. And even like Shinomiya, she likes like clowning on Kafka, but she definitely likes Kafka for sure.
Oh,
And he did save her life, but everyone kind of like, even though Kafka's kind of like the class clown, he's like funny, but everybody knows he has like abilities and stuff. So like they're treating him as an asset, but once he starts showing off his actual like abilities as a kaiju and they smooth it over, I'm sure everybody will be shocked. But you know what I mean? I think that it'll be once kaiju number 9 really makes his move. I think it'll be important, and it'll be really sick to see kind of how they react to Kafka being like literally one of the strongest kaiju of all time.
yeah, I feel like they're going to be like conflicted because a lot of them probably lost family members to kaiju. You know what I mean? To them, it's like kind of personal. Like you're a disgusting monster, but at the same time, it's kind of like, oh, he's super strong and a great guy. But then at the same time, too, it's like, well, what really is he? Because if kaiju number 9 is able to biologically experiment and create kaiju and Kafka was transformed into one, is he human or is he kaiju? And that's gonna be the question that's gonna be asked. To depend whether to put him down or not, or to use him as an asset. So it's going to be like, well, how in control is he? So I feel like it's going to end up being this really insane kind of moment when we get there. But I mean, I feel like him versus Kaiju number 9 is going to be amazing. I feel like we're just seeing the beginning of Kaiju number 9. I feel like Kaiju number 9 is going to have some insane moments because he's brought Kaiju back from the dead. He's making it so. I mean, that thing was huge. That I don't know what it was called, but that kaiju was massive. But yeah, I mean, I'm so hooked. I'm so hooked. It's such a good series. There's so many amazing moments that are super funny. And the thing about him and Shinomiya is, I feel like she really likes him, not just because he saved her, but because he treats her like a human being, and he's the only one. Everyone else treats her
Yeah,
like, the commissioner's daughter or the prodigy, or you know what I mean. They don't like look at her as a human being. And that's why I think she got so flustered, because he was the only one who said, hey, good job. Everyone else is like, oh, that's what she can do. Like, wow, she's so amazing and so capable and so impressive. But he's like, well, she's a human being. Like, to him, she's Shinomiya. Everyone else, that's the commissioner's daughter or the prodigy, like I said. So I feel like that's how he treats people, and that's why people like really respect him and gravitate towards him. But like, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's awesome.
dude, you're exactly right. I love it. I can't wait to see the rest of season 1, but I feel like we need more right away. You know
Dude,
what I mean?
yeah, it's the
It's
same thing
winter.
too. It's the same thing too with Kaiju number 8 and Windbreaker, where we haven't even met the full squads of both. You know what I mean? There's still a lot of people in Windbreaker we haven't met yet that are like on the cover. Same thing with Kaiju number 8, where we haven't really gone into I guess more depth into the other characters. Right now, it's just been kind of the captain, vice captain, Kafka, Shinomiya, and Ichikawa. But like, there's still like more people in Kaiju number 8 that's going to be involved, like the guy with the pink hair and the other those two dudes. We met the cougar.
Cougar,
I was
yes.
like, yes, we
Lovely
needed one.
touch.
Yeah.
Lovely touch. Always need an intellectual older woman on the squad, you know?
But we haven't gone into depth with those two guys either. We're just starting to really introduce some of these characters. So I feel like this is just like as amazing as Kaiju number 8 and Windbreaker is, it's just the beginning. Like we're not even close to even getting started into these series, which I am thrilled about.
Yeah, true that. It just goes to show you like how good the series are, and hopefully like everybody else feels the same because Kaiju and Windbreaker really are rocking. But what are we, 6 or 7 episodes in to the season?
I think maybe like 7 or even 8.
I thought this was number 7, so like we're still only halfway through the season. We still have like a good bit of content to unfold, but I feel like it's just been moving so quick because I've been so like into it and I've been looking forward to it every week.
So Kaiju number 8 is episode 6. Windbreaker's episode 7. We just had.
All right, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, we're halfway. We got plenty left for now.
oh, dude, of course. But like, yeah, it's been nothing but incredible. And then kind of speaking of, with Demon Slayer, that just started episode 2, and what a second episode! I thought it was phenomenal. I loved it. My boy Giyu. I mean, I feel so bad for him, man. I really do. But there was just so many funny moments at the same time. I feel like Demon Slayer is kind of changing in a way. I feel like they're like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like they're taking it less serious right now. Like I feel like the weird like it's not weird, but like the different kind of like chibi type artwork they're having more and more and more, and they're having those kind of funny moments where like it breaks, kind of like with Kaiju number 8, like those moments where it's just like you take a serious moment and you add that little bit of comedy with that reaction or whatever. I feel like they're doing a lot more of that recent, which I don't know how we're gonna necessarily like. I hope they're kind of just doing it to make it more lighthearted as we're about to get into insanity with the rest of the series. This is like we talked about the calm before the storm, but like hopefully they don't go too crazy with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was kind of like my maybe my only worry with the season. Like it was fun, kind of you get like the funny parts of like Tanjiro's personality, just like annoying the shit out of Giyu at like his house.
So, wait.
That scene was gold. He's
The
like, no, I
door.
must have misheard him. He said, I think I'll leave, and then he opens the door.
He's like, I'm coming in. He's like, oh, yeah, I must have misheard him. I'm pretty sure he said I'm leaving. And he looks at the door and he pops in. He's like, you. He's like, fuck.
I love like their personalities. They're so different too, and even I feel like Giyu puts that on. He doesn't really feel that way, and like we got some of that this episode, but like they're so different. They work so well together.
Tanjiro's like, I'm smelling anger.
Smelling a bit of anger from you. I just come into your home unannounced. Are you a little upset?
As you
And
told
then
me
he's
to
like so
leave.
cute. Like you can't really be mad at Tanjiro. He's the fucking man.
Dude, it was absolute. Dude, so many moments like that moment, but then also when Giyu kind of talks about his backstory and like kind of like Tanjiro says that one thing. He's like, are you really gonna like what are you gonna do with what's his face Sabato left you? And he was like, oh my god, like he just like hit him right in the heart with that, and he's like, did I take it too far? He's like, Giyu, eating contest.
Soba contest. It was like, yeah, good save, buddy.
And Giyu's like, wait, what? And then it
What?
shows him actually having the contest.
Yeah, I love the way they write it. Like it's kind of cute and funny, but like it's still like badass and serious at the same time. And
Yeah.
even if the season is like you said a little slower or lighthearted.
I love that though.
Um,
This is exactly what I wanted. I just don't want it to
yeah,
continue when like, because this is where you need it. You know what I mean? So like it
form
fits and
some of
it
those bonds,
works.
and I
Yeah.
feel like you get a little more from like the whole cast, not just like Tanjiro, Zenitsu, Giyu, Inosuke. Like you get a lot more from like the Hishira, which I feel like as you learn their backstories and we get ready for these like main fights, and I think it'll hit harder. You know what I mean? Like I feel like what really drew me in was the obviously the Mugen Train movie was the first thing I saw, and like just rocking with Rengoku's like goofy personality for like an hour and a half, and then you see how badass it is. It was like, oh man,
And
it
then
was
how
just so
sad it
like
was.
yeah, like it was so emotional, and like they just did a great job of it. I have faith that they'll they'll do that with the rest of the cast as well, not just like the main guys.
I will say, like, what we have to do is we have to talk about the whole Giyu situation, but then there's some foreshadowing at the end of Demon Slayer, and I was like, holy crap. So the whole thing with Giyu is like, I don't agree that he's not the Water Hashira. I think he absolutely deserves it. Because it's not like, I could understand how, like, someone could agree with him or he could think that way if, like, he got hurt and it was like, well, that's it. You know, like, if he got hurt and he was kind of like, oh, I can't go and help Sabato save those people because, you know, like, I'm too scared. He passed out. Like, what do you want, bro? Like, you got hurt. There's a split second where you hesitated. That was it. Sabato comes in, saves you, and a couple other people, and then you know you pass out. It's not like you abandon Sabato. Like, what do you expect? You know what I mean? So like, I don't think it's fair at all that he was like, oh, like, you know, I'm not the water hosher. Like, you're insanely skilled. You absolutely deserve to be. I mean, let's not forget about Dead Calm when he took out that what is it? Lower Demon 5 or whatever. Like, that was sick. That was with
Like
ease.
it was nothing. Yeah.
Lower demons are still very, very strong too. You know what I mean? And like, he didn't even like try. It was insane. Like, so he's very skilled. I think that it absolutely is deserved. I don't think I can see why he holds it against himself, but I don't think it's just to be like, oh, he's not actually the Water Hashira. I think he absolutely deserved it.
I totally agree with you. I don't think it's really justified, but obviously we learned like how self-conscious he is, and they kind of touched on it a bit in season 1, I think. Like you might get, I don't remember if they don't really dive into it, but like they kind of show that connection there, and like their I guess his coat, you know what I mean? You can kind of tell like that's
He
where
wears it with him, yeah.
yeah, so like they gave us a touch of it, but seeing how like self-conscious he is and like the fact that he blames himself even though he got injured, I don't really think is justified because Sabito also was like, just trying to help everybody, but in a selfless way, got himself killed trying to save everybody else. And even though it was like a selfless act, he didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like for you to blame himself for that and carry that guilt with him, I don't think is like totally justified. But obviously, he does feel like inferior to everybody else, which I think is in part to them just like literally not talking. I feel like every time we've seen the Hashira together, they don't really get along, or they all have like really strong personalities.
Yeah.
Um, and like that's really like against Giyu's like vibe. So like if they were to communicate some of their backstories, which obviously for story purposes we will learn, they don't just like have tea and dump
Yeah.
trauma dump at this like arc, you know what I mean? But it would be good for them, communicate.
A
It
little
definitely helps.
therapy before, you know, the final battles.
Honestly, I think that would do some good. That would
No,
do some
I
good
think
for
they
sure.
need the chip on their shoulder. I think they need that trauma to kick some ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to go in a little pent up. Sanemi is definitely that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, little hot take here, and I'm gonna be honest. So first of all, what I meant by like guy Giyu wears it with him is that like he carries Sabato with him by half his kimono being Sabato's. But hot take here, I don't think Sabato is as strong as everyone thinks, or as good as the Demon Slayer as everyone thinks. Because like I think he's super strong. I think he's super good, super talented. But like part of the test was to actually the entire test was to survive. That's what the test was. It wasn't go out there, kill 5 demons, and then make it to pass these 7 days. You know what I mean? It was see if you can survive 7 days with these demons. That's what the test was. You know what I mean? So at the same time, Sabato having this kind of like ego to go out and kill everything and to help everybody, like that is a flaw. Like you need to be able to survive and to stay alive, and he wasn't able to do that. You know what I mean? He failed the test. He ended up dying. Like even though it kind of appears like it is partly selfless. You know what I mean? Like of what he did and like how great that was. It's like I hate to break it to you, man. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone is hyping this guy up, like he is the Hashira above all Hashira, but like he never even made it, out of the exam. He never even made it into the Demon Core. So I think that like Giyu needs to like let that go, because I think that's one of the things where he keeps thinking, where Sabato, if like he survived and he passed the test, like he would have been the greatest Water Hashira ever, but like he didn't even make it into the Demon Core. Like surviving is a part of it, and that's something that he didn't do. So I think that it's definitely a hot take. I'm not saying like the kid's bad, you know what I mean, but like at the same time, if you
Was bad.
exactly the was is the problem, you know what I mean. So like
Yeah.
I'm not like crapping on him. You know what I mean? I think Sabato is a sick character, and it sucks because you want to wish that he did make it into the Demon Slayer core, and met Tanjiro a little bit more, and they became friends, and he was with Giyu and everything like that. But like at the end of the day, like he failed the test, So yeah, I feel like Giyu's got to let that go. I feel like a lot of the stuff he holds against himself and deals with is just kind of like, bro, like, come on.
Brother needs some therapy.
He does. Well, he's got Tanjiro, who's kind of dishing that
Yeah.
prescription for him.
I feel like it made that scene, and I'm glad they kind of cut back to it with Sabito and Tanjiro. I kind of made it like hit a little bit harder. I thought that was cool the way they like incorporated
That
that.
was a great moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the potential for Sabito would have been really cool. I feel like by the end of the story, you kind of learn like more about all of that, and it makes sense. But yeah, I definitely feel you. Like you failed the primary objective, which was to survive. And I don't know. Maybe this is like just my personal view on it. Like you can help more people down the line, but you can't. But you
Exactly.
can if you die. You know what I mean? Saving these 5 people, Giyu saved countless people. You know what I mean? And not to like say what he did was wrong. It was selfless, but he still fucked up. You know what I mean? You got killed, brother.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Sabato is such an awesome character, but like when you hear everyone talk about like, oh, he was like so incredible and so amazing, had so much potential. It's just like at the same time, you have this requirement of go into the test, survive 7 days, and you're good. Like at the same time, if you jump into every fight, like he's kind of like he's selfless for helping people, and like that's great, and you want that in a Demon Slayer. But at the same time, it's kind of like he's like fight hungry. You know what I mean? Like he's got to have that combat, and that if you're too fight focused and all you're thinking about is how many demons can I kill and how many people can I save, it's just like you run into that wall like he did, where it's like you run into that fight that you shouldn't have been in, and you shouldn't have went in alone. Like, you know what I mean? Why are you going in there? Like,
True.
you just saved 3 people. Sure, Giyu like passed out and whatever, but like take one of those guys with you. You know what I mean? Don't do it all by yourself. Why aren't you coordinating with other demon slayers or kids in the entrance exam to like take this thing on? Instead, he went on all by himself, thinking he can do it all, and he bit off too much that then he can chew. So it's just like one of those things where you keep hearing like so many great things about him, but at the end of the day, where you're talking about like in such high regards a person that didn't even pass the test, which is unfortunate. But like I think that was insane. I think that his death was super important, not only to Tanjiro being able to get into the exam and to pass it on his own, but then also Giyu's development, because Giyu would not have been the same Hashira or the same Demon Slayer if Sabato survived.
Yeah, it's an important and I think well done like plot device, but
Like Rengoku's
not to do
death.
it. Yeah, exactly. And even though I was mad about it in the beginning, I definitely thought it was like really well done. It was really well written. I liked Rengoku. That's why I was upset. Have you
Yeah.
ever have you ever seen those memes like Potential Man?
Potential man?
Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. Never mind.
All right.
It's basically just bashing people that like have all these skills and potential and then like don't live up to them or don't utilize them the right
Bro, but
way.
like they make such good moments because like I'm stoked going to my first anime convention this weekend, and it's gonna be super, super hard hitting
Sick.
because two of the voice actors that are gonna be there, Rengoku and Jiraiya from Naruto.
Dude, that's gonna be so sick.
Two amazing characters that were just amazing people, amazing fighters, and had just such sad deaths. And it's just gonna be like hearing that voice again is gonna be like so hard. It's gonna be like, oh no, like I can't wait. By the way, a ton of Tokyo Ghoul voice actors are gonna be there. I'm like, such a
So
coincidence that we
sick.
just made. Dude, our girl Ito is gonna be there. I'm like,
Hey, let's go.
did you know she voices Pochita or whatever the chainsaw's name from Chainsaw Man?
No, I didn't know she did that. That's
I was like,
awesome.
holy crap, like that is so sick. But yeah, so I think that Rengoku's death was so sad, and but it was so crucial towards Tanjiro's what's it called, progress. And people were even saying that like, oh, he died, and that's why he's like idolized and everyone loves him, and it was just such like a cool, I guess part one to this season or season in its own. But like apparently he wasn't like that strong compared to the other Hashira. But I'm like, he's still a Hashira. He's still strong. Like kick rocks. He also
Yeah,
taught himself. Like let's be honest. Like that's impressive. Because his dad
very true.
just like decided I'm not going to train you. If his dad trained him, he would have been a lot. But besides the point, to kind of close this out, what I thought was really insane was at the end of the episode when Shinobu was talking to Kanoa or Kanao. I don't know her name. I'm so bad with names. Why do we have to make
No,
them
yeah,
so
it's Canal.
complicated? But the foreshadowing where she's like, I'm going to tell you how my sister died and how to kill the demon that kills her. Foreshadowing that she's going to be the one that takes out the demon. So, in my opinion, at least, I feel like that she's gonna be the one that takes out the demon. Because why else she can be like, "Hey, let me tell you how to do it because I'm gonna die to this demon." It's just foreshadowing, in my opinion.
Uh,
If you can't speak about this because you
no, I
know
don't know
the
who she's.
ending,
I, I mean, I know, yeah, what happens to them, but is she talking about the Upper Moon?
well, I don't know because again, this is part of the spoilers, so I don't
Did
know
they
the
ever like?
spoilers. We don't
Did they
want to
ever
spoil.
touch?
Remember, we do
Did they
not
ever
want to spoil.
touch? But did they ever touch on like what happened to her sister, or that like we just know that she died?
Well, I think as of right now, we know that a demon killed her, and
Just
Shinobu's
yeah, she
very,
was.
very pissed about it.
Yeah, fair enough. I would
That's
be pissed too.
that's all
That's
we know.
very justified,
I
valid.
well, I think the whole reason why Shinobu was like freaking out and like very very angry at the end of the episode is because I'm pretty sure she was just told that she needs to work with that one demon who's like the on their side and who's coming to the mansion.
Yeah,
And
Tamayo
Shinobu,
and
yeah,
her assistant
and
boy.
Shinobu doesn't care. Shinobu's just like, I hate all demons. I do not want to work with her. I'm pissed, and that's why I think she's like was very angry and she told Kanao like, hey. So I'm going to tell you the story about how my sister died, the details and how to kill it. And I think that might end up being the beginning of next episode. But to me, that's just foreshadowing that her and Kanao are going to be the ones that take on that demon. Shinobu's going to die, and that Kanao's going to have to finish the job. Because why else are you going to sit there and be like, oh, hey, here's this very crucial information. Like, okay, just write it on the goddamn subtitles. You're gonna be the one that kills the demon. Like,
Yeah, there is a lot of foreshadowing and like I feel like they do a good job of it. They don't let you on too much.
but anyways, I'm stoked. I can't wait to see Kanao. I mean, we haven't seen her necessarily fight. We saw her try to kill Nezuko, which we thought was hilarious and adorable, but like we actually
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen her full combat abilities. So to see her eventually in combat is gonna be sick. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Plus it like gives us a little more like substance to her character. It'll be cool to see her train and kind of yeah, some of her abilities and all that for sure.
But I'm stoked. I mean, Demon Slayer has been awesome. I'm really enjoying the season. The season is exactly what I wanted it to be lore, to be funny interactions, to be those our last smiles and laughs before everything gets depressing. So I'm really stoked about it. But do you want to
Yeah,
say anything else about
absolutely.
Demon Slayer before we get into My Hero Academia and then close this up?
Ah, let's do it, brother.
I mean, dude, again, one of those episodes where it was like not necessarily a whole lot of action, but like a lore bomb where we have Yuga
Yeah.
finding out that he is, the leak, and then he snaps. That moment was so cool, where he just kind of decides that he's this horrible villain, and you just see in his eyes he just kind of loses it and comes at Midoriya, and then dude, the Invisible Girl just steps in and was just like, "Hey, I know what's up. Like, don't sleep on me. Like, dude, she came in clutch. I mean, actually, we got to see what she looks like a little bit.
Yeah, like I was very impressed with like I guess like the facial expressions and like the emotions from the characters because like you said there wasn't like a ton of fighting but like just really well done like you could tell how bad he felt like how guilty you know what I mean like
It finally gave that character actually depth because I don't know about anybody else. I couldn't stand him this entire series. I thought he was so obnoxious and annoying, and I thought his
pretty
quirks
much
just
useless like
weird. He shoots a laser out of his goddamn belly button, and it's like this whole
dude
big
imagine
thing. Like,
imagine like going up to offer one and being like yo I need a badass quirk I'm quirkless I don't want to be a loser and
that's
he's
what you
like yo
get.
I got you you'll be indebted to me forever. Your belly. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's cool. Now you're indebted to me forever. It's like that's
Dude,
a brutal
I
quirk.
thought that was insane, just how similar he is to Deku. Like, insane. Like,
Yeah,
because everyone is kind of like, this is just fan theory, I think, that like Deku, had like a really bad quirk, and when he was born, he ended up killing his dad or something because his dad just mysteriously not there, and that apparently his mom went to All for One and was kind of like, hey, take my son's quirk away. Wait, is that a fan theory or is that a leak? Or
yeah.
is that like
Mr.
a
Midoriya
spoiler?
knew what he needed to do. He needed to bounce from his kid's life
Oh,
to make the
I was gonna say
strongest
this.
hero.
We gotta like cut that out, then, so I don't want to drop spoilers for
No, no,
people.
no.
But
I
yeah,
actually don't. I don't know if they ever like.
yeah, I think it's just fan theory. I don't think they ever get into it. I think it's just one of those things where they
Have we
just don't
ever
talk
like
about.
talked about his dad? Yeah, he's
No,
just
that's the
left for
thing.
milk.
Yeah, that's why that's why everyone's kind of saying like it's so weird that his dad just never shown up. And I don't know. I think it's fan theory. I think it's fan theory. But I thought it was so cool the similarities between Yuga and Deku.
Such a similar position, but like handled so differently, and obviously the consequences of that. But yeah, definitely, it was cool to see that like juxtaposition.
Yeah, and then gave him Yuga way more depth. I mean,
Yeah, you
I
can like
really enjoyed his
empathize with
character.
him.
Yeah,
It's like, all right, sick. And yeah, it was like a really good emotional scene. Um, I don't know, just like yeah, it gives you like depth and substance to that character. You were like, yeah, he's kind of obnoxious and a little annoying, but yeah, it made me appreciate him more. And I thought it was really well done that like comparison between him and Deku and kind of how they came up.
and then what kind of scares me is that we talked about it briefly last podcast episode, but we're already starting to see that talk no jutsu, and it's like
Bro, Deku immediately starts crying. It was like, yo,
yeah,
like,
like
first off, you
why is
could
he crying
beat
more?
the shit out of him. You could end this in a minute. Why are you crying, bro?
Dude, actually, I did not like that. So, like, I thought we were past that, Deku. I thought we grew, we were past that, and like, why are you still going straight to the waterworks every 15 minutes? You know what I mean? Like,
Sometimes I like that trope about him, like when he's talking to all the like previous One for All users, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want to kill Shigaraki. I want to save him." It's like,
yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Like, kind of goes against everything they believe, but like shows Deku's personality and like his resolve and all that.
And
But
the
then he like
hero
takes
that's
it.
in him. You know what I mean? Like, he's that true
Yeah, like he's a
hero
true
spirit.
hero.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I'm rocking with that. But then he's a little too sensitive. And then I always forget like these are all supposed to be like what 15, 16-year-old kids. Like sure they're
Yeah,
emotional,
yeah.
it's
I get what
that
you mean. Yeah,
it's
I get
that
where you're coming
special
at.
time. But then like I don't know, you look at different anime and they're like grown ass fucking men at like 17 with like fucking muscles and like skills. It's like, yeah, okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. I do kind of flame Deku a lot for that. It's like something I don't really love about him.
My whole thing is that it
Um,
just doesn't show, like, to me, like, he's the crybaby in the beginning of the series, and you're kind of like, oh, this is kind of annoying. But then he gets the powers, and he grows so much stronger, and you have all this growth from Deku, and it's just insane. And the strength that he now has, it's like you're still crying, bro. Like, I understand the sensitivity and kind of the wanting to do good and not hurt anybody, and kind of find the best solution to the problem. But it's just like he why like that kind of situation does not warrant tears. Like, you found the spy, he's in custody, why are you bawling your eyes out like he's dead? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on, bro. I can see why Yuga's crying. That makes a whole lot of sense. That warrants some tears. But Deku's like, bro, you just want to see more growth there. You want to see like a little bit more strength from Deku instead of just the instant tears.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that just kind of plagues his character. Maybe I shouldn't say plagues, but it is kind of a flaw through the whole story. Like, I don't even know what the right word would be. Like, you're going out of your way and like risking everybody's well-being to like save somebody who's tormented you for how many seasons? Like, brother, get rid of that guy. He sucks.
Oh no, I'm not saying get rid of him. Like, the whole thing with like I
No, no,
like
no. Just like the villains and shit. Like, you don't have to empathize with these people. They're like terrorists. You know what I
well,
mean?
like,
Like,
you can, but you don't have to cry. You know what I mean? Like Yuga's in custody. I get like trying to sit there and like talk to him, be like, hey man, like, come on, like, this is our one shot to get all for one. Like, you can be a hero. Like, you're not a villain. Like, you saved people and you did all this stuff. I get all of that. I love all of that. I think the talk no jutsu, I was kind of like joking like, oh, we're already starting to see it, but I think it was perfectly played and it was needed because it's like, yeah, this is your one shot to kind of like go after all for one. You kind of have that connection to him. You know what I mean? Where you can kind of trap him and Yuga can come in clutch, and kind of turn the tide of this war and have them strike first, which is insane. But it's like, I feel like that scene, like, wasn't emotional enough for Deku to start, losing his
yeah,
mind.
I definitely agree with you. And then like we had touched on it last week a little bit, like, oh, do we think that's it for Stars and Stripes? First like 20 seconds, they're like, yeah, here's what happened. She's fucking dead. Like she died. And then here's like the replay of the scene of her face falling apart. Like, so that was kind of tough, but we learned about Stars and Stripes' fate and kind of
I
the
feel like they
damage
didn't
she
like
did to.
react either. I feel like, at
Bro,
the end of the
no
day, the
love,
number
no
one
love.
like hero possibly in the world just died, and you guys are not like, how do we, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, okay, guys, she bought us like 3 days. We got this. We got to train. Like, the number one hero in America and possibly the world just died, and you guys aren't blinking an eye. You guys aren't thinking like, hey, maybe like we aren't capable of doing this. You know what I mean? That didn't once cross their minds. Like, yeah, we still got this. We got 3 days, guys. Let's do some push-ups and like do some laps. We'll fuck them up. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, Deku, that's where you cry, bro. That's where you cry.
You losing a beautiful muscle mommy with an amazing quirk, like,
Yeah, we lost the
and
mommy,
yeah,
bro. That's a sad day.
there was no reaction at all. It's just like, all right, she bought us a week's time, maybe. Like, let's get to work.
Yeah,
Which
but
I kind
then
of felt like they didn't waste her character, but like I felt like they could have done more
they
for
wasted her character,
Stars and
dude.
Stripes.
I mean, 2 episodes.
Yeah,
They didn't waste it in the aspect of why she died or how she died, but like let's have this be a couple more episodes. Because I'm not gonna lie, guys, I do not know why you were so yeah, Stars and Stripes is here, the best. We love her. It's like, dude, it was 2 episodes. Like, I mean, like, I feel like that's not enough to get attached to the character. Like, I think she's like cool, but like, I wouldn't be freaking out. Like, oh, guys, this is the Stars and Stripes arc because like you blink and you miss it. You know what I mean?
yeah, it was kind of a shame too. Plus, like that little cutscene with like her and All Might would have been nice to see them reunite or like
Oh, it would have
at
been
least
so
have some
amazing.
kind of interaction. And I felt
Deku
like we got
fanboying
nothing
over
out of it.
her.
Yeah, like that would have been really cool to at least get like a couple episodes or like half a season where she like plays a part in the crew. And yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to get that. But
Maybe Deku
um,
learned something from her. Like that would have been sick. You know what I mean?
yeah, that definitely could have been handled better. I was kind of disappointed, but she will live on in memory. Stars and Stripes,
Yeah.
salute.
Oh seven to the mommy's boys. Oh seven.
Oh, seven to the mommies, facts.
If we lose a hero, it's one thing. We lose a mommy, that's the end. You know?
That's truly tragic.
Yeah.
It's truly tragic.
Speaking of like kind of this stuff, because I heard mommy and like everyone's looking sick this episode. I mean, this season. Everyone's looking like jacked and like more adult, and I was like, oh, like the designs of the characters have really taken a step up, and that's something that Deku even kind of pointed out. Like everyone's kind of got like the new suits, but everyone's looking like heroes. They're looking strong. I was like, damn.
Nah, that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Like everyone looks, yeah, like you said, a little more mature and like a little more badass. Like there's that
Battle
edge to
hardened.
them.
They're ready for war.
Yes, and it like feels like we're really preparing for this like huge war, this like final saga type deal. And I feel like they are doing the characters a little bit better. Yeah, I feel like that's always like a slippery slope with an anime or like a manga where you have like a lot of supporting cast.
Like
It's
so many.
easy, yeah, it's easy to like not use them or make sure they have a couple moments. So hopefully throughout this war we get a lot of like side character action because obviously you're going to get plenty with like Deku and Bakugo and Shigaraki and All for One. You know what I mean? We're going to get plenty of those characters, but hopefully we get a lot of like really cool examples of their quirks and like some creativity with that stuff.
You know what I'm kind of thinking too? I really do think more and more, because you brought up Shigaraki. I mean, just how much talk no jutsu is actually going to work, because you can tell that he really hates All for One. Like he's got a
Yeah.
passion of like hatred against this guy now. And we saw that at the end of the episode as well, where he's just like, "I want to kill you," and All for One's like laughing, like, "I can feel your resentment. I love it. We're becoming one." So like
Yeah.
I can really see Shigaraki turning against All for One like for real and like finally, and I feel like that scene's gonna be amazing. Deku and Shigaraki against All for One. I feel like that fight is gonna be, it's like Bungo Stray Dogs. I don't know if you've seen it, but like the main character becomes friends with the teammates with the guy from the Port Mafia. They're
Oh
both
shit. Okay.
Dazai's kind of like I don't even know how to kind of say it, but like Dazai, when he's in the Port Mafia, he kind of trained this one kid, and then the kid became obsessed with Dazai, and Dazai is now part of the agency, and he trains the main character, and they end up kind of working like on both sides. They're against each other, they're rivals, but because of Dazai, they end up becoming teammates and working together and kind of sort of becoming friends. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with My Hero Academia, where Deku and Shigaraki are going to they've been against each other the whole time. They're going to work together, and they're just going to be OP. And it's going to be insane. We're going to see them against All for One. It's going to be sick. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how it plays out and kind of Shigaraki's resolve changes or like what he goes through to come to his conclusion, whatever that may be. Like I'm really excited to see that and kind of the influence that Deku has on him because we know obviously just from his personality what he's going to try and do, and I feel like he's already made it pretty clear he's more apt to help people than finish the job. You know what I mean? So it'll be cool to see. It'll be cool to see how it plays out.
Yeah, but I'm stoked. I mean, some amazing anime this week, as always. It's been absolutely sick. And there's so much we're not talking about. There's so much, like Newgate has been absolutely awesome. Reincarnates as Slime, Jobless Reincarnation, Bartender, Konosuba. I mean, there's just so many amazing anime. So we hope you guys are having a fantastic week every week, just binging this stuff. But I mean, that's it, man. You got anything else to say?
Just yeah, keep rolling, man. It's been such a sick season. Like, yeah, there's a lot of different stuff. Maybe we'll have to do another episode about just other random stuff because I feel like there's so much stuff I want to catch up on. I'm like secretly weaving through a condition called love. I'm like up to episode 7 or 8, I think. It's like
I'm one behind. I don't know if I'm going to keep watching it. It's just so
I keep
weird.
saying that, and I'm just like, let's see what this creeps up to. Like,
It's just such a
but yeah,
dumpster fire. It's hard to take your eyes off of it.
I know, dude, and I told you I'm a sucker for some romance, good or bad. Yeah, but it's been so much fun, man. I'm having a blast with it for sure.
But anyways, guys, we hope you guys are enjoying anime this season as well. It is just again amazing. Hope you guys have a great next week, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.